All right, what's up, everyone? We have looks like about 100%. Actually, no, there we go. We got some physical viewers, but we have about, I think 112 that are just viewing. So welcome to those just viewing. If anyone that is just viewing, this might be your first time. If you want to be part of the live conversation, just go to the Facebook group where Dan posted, and click on the top link, and then that'll bring you into the viewing, and we can see your beautiful faces and hear your beautiful voice and have a discussion. Otherwise, if you are viewing and you have any questions or comments throughout this experience, just make sure to either post them or you can send them to support@simpractic.com, and we will have those passed over to us so that we can answer those questions live. And if any of the questions are more involved in answering them live, we'll just respond to you through email. So welcome. Today we will be discussing external marketing. There are 4 new campaigns that have been added to your library, so we're going to be talking about those, and we will announce it later on this week. We're just running through some testing. One of them just is requiring a little bit of updates to some of the codes, so once that's done, we will be able to let you guys know, but they're really cool campaigns, so we're excited about that for sure. So just some weekly updates for you. The SYN room is 100% loaded. The only little challenge that developers are having is getting it ordered chronologically, but you can start going through it at this point. Just go to your academy, click on SYN room, and then there's one of the options there. Once you're in SYN room, is Start Here. Just click on Start Here. That will give you the ability to download your workbook in a PDF form, and then you can print that out. It's about 72 pages long, so it's really comprehensive, and there are 34 videos that go with it as well, and the videos prompt you through the experience. So the recommendation is this: either print out a copy for each member of your office directly from the academy, and that's free to you. There's a gift to you, and I'm sure that if we were to really sit down and think about a price for this, I would say at least $2,000 minimum, just because it's that comprehensive. I mean, there must be someone else in the world that has built something like this, and I'm sure they're charging at least a few $1,000s for it. So we're really cutting them out of business because we're giving this away for free. But otherwise, we did find a vendor that I'm really excited about. I think this will actually be useful on a going forward basis. They're located in Chicago. They're in a mastermind group with me, and they're a big company, about 150 employees. They're called disc.com, and they agreed to actually print on demand for us, where it's only $50 per kit. So a kit would consist of a 72-page workbook and a DVD. And the recommendation is, if you have a little bit of extra money you want to spend, you want to get everybody a gift. We're not making any money off of this at all. So there's no benefit to us other than it benefits you to have your plan. Go and order your SYN room kit. We posted a link on Facebook. We will post it again this week. And go and order a kit. The recommendation is you get it for everyone in your office. If price is a little bit more of an issue, then just get one and everybody can share it. But if you definitely have a little extra money, it will make a big difference for them to have that tangible book, and you can place your order and then benefit. But the SYN room's going to, kill it for you guys. Like, the byproduct of this, and I know I've built a lot of hype here, so it better deliver, but I know it's going to deliver because it's really that fantastic. But the byproduct, when you're done, what you can experience is you're going to have a crystal clear vision for your clinic and agreed upon core values, objective goals for 2015 that are based on the full year and then monthly as well. You're also going to have a 12-month marketing and editorial plan as well, and then a reward system that gets everyone excited. And that's really the byproduct of the SYN room. And the videos are going to help create that atmosphere and that energy that's needed for that to become successful, because it really does need to be a motivational / empowering environment that forces deep introspection and discussion, and that's what the videos are going to do. It's going to cue you up to really turn this into an amazing experience. So the goal right now is just to plan it. Figure out when you're doing it. We're doing our SYN room on December 5th. We're going to be closing the office down that day. We're really excited about it. I don't know where we're doing it yet. I'm going to finalize those details this week, and it's going to be killer stuff. So we do this also. We practice what we preach. So definitely go out there and schedule your SYN room. Our holiday hours are the following. We are closed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week, giving the team a chance to just rejuvenate. As you know, the team works really hard here for you. So when they can get a few days around a holiday to just kind of clear their mind a bit, they always come back with greater ideas than ever before. So we will be closed on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. So if you need anything at all, The recommendation is to email instead of call, because the team will still check email at support@synpractic.com. If you call, there's not going to be anyone here to answer. So just shoot your request through email. If it requires a follow-up phone call, the team will follow up and call you. But pretty much anything can be solved through email because we can just jump in and help you. In addition, we just posted, and we're going to send it out through email a couple of times as well. We wrote a Thanksgiving email for you to use. It's a Happy Thanksgiving and my 5 favorite gratitude quotes. And when I say my, it's as in yours. You can always replace those if you have better quotes that you want to use. But it's a swipe file, so it's completely written for you. All that you need to do is copy and paste it into an email and then schedule to have it sent on Thursday morning for Thanksgiving. So if you don't know how to do that because you're new, or maybe you've never done it before and you're a little bit stuck, just reach out to your personal marketing coordinator at support@synpractic.com, and they will happily schedule that email for you. It's really special to send out a message on Thanksgiving morning, because think about it like this. The odds are you love this holiday because there's so much that you can feel grateful for. You have a practice where you love supporting the people in your community. You have a family that you love. You have your health, your abundance, your finances. You're living the life, right? But not everyone else is. And Thanksgiving has the chance to be a real sore spot for people that don't have that degree of abundance. They don't really have something to feel grateful for. They're kind of stuck in their own mind. Maybe their health isn't ideal. Maybe their relationship isn't ideal. Maybe their finances isn't ideal. Remember, we always talk about the importance of pattern interrupts, because when people enter your clinic, they're living out a pattern called my everyday life. And my everyday life consists of I hate my spouse, I hate my career, I hate my finances, I hate my health. That's the pattern called my everyday life. And that might sound really extreme, but I'd rather operate from the place of being extreme, because then you're more empathetic. So think about that. Thanks to your handsome spouse, and you see your wonderful children, you see your family, and you have a wonderful meal that you can enjoy, and everything is just rainbows and flowers. But what about the person that's alone, that has nothing to feel grateful for? What if the email they get from you on that morning is something they can feel grateful for? What if that just happens to make them smile on a day that usually makes them frown? And even from the quote-unquote selfish standpoint, let's just say, I remember a few years ago, Dr. Kevin Karich, who is a rock star in our tribe, I remember he said when the email went out for Thanksgiving morning that he had like 12 or 15 people respond to him, and many of them were inactive. They were like, no, something I want to come back in for care. So like it actually will grow your business. So like from the strategic, from the more quote-unquote selfish side, even though no one in this tribe is selfish at all, if anything, it's the opposite of that, just do it. It's a great strategy. And if for any reason the email that we wrote for you isn't exactly you, just tweak it, edit it, and make it your own. But it's definitely a good place to start, and maybe it's completely done for you. And something is better than nothing. And if this is a busy week for you for whatever reason, obviously just use what we wrote, because it's really effective. So we're excited to share that with you. So this week, we want to always give you a lesson. You're going to start to see that as we now move into the new year, which is crazy to think that this has already been a year with Synpractic, we're going to start shifting the SYNMIND a bit to make it more valuable for you. One thing that is very important to us is we want to teach you how to fish at points. It's kind of an interesting concept, because we don't want you to ever feel dependent upon anything. So when we're teaching you to fish, we're actually giving you skills that'll make you more effective. And the reason why we know will always be part of your life is because of the amount of value that we bring. So even with you having the ability to go out and fish, really we're just getting you to think like marketers, where we then do your marketing. So you're just more creative, you're more effective, you're more compelling, and that's really the goal. So you're going to see it as we shift the SYNMINDs, and you'll know in advance, because that's part of our discussion in our SYN room, is what do the SYNMINDs look like? Because we can record training videos on external marketing, internal marketing, communications, and the little things that make a world difference. We can do that on our own, but let's collaborate around skills. Let's have deep discussions on things that will grow your business outside of the scope of what we're already doing, and then you can watch the training videos at your discretion, because everybody's going to be on a different path with regard to their marketing. But there's this concept that I was listening to this morning. I've heard this dozens of times from the same person, but this morning I was listening to it when I was working out, and it's by a gentleman named Gene Jackson. and Dean Jackson and Joe Polish, they started a podcast together called I Love Marketing. And I highly recommend the podcast. It's fantastic. I think they're on about 200 episodes now. So it's been going on for a few years, and it's free, obviously. And they bring in guests and experts in their field, and then they happen to be experts in direct response marketing. But there's this concept in marketing where you want to think of yourself, think about it from this perspective. So what allows a cat to, or not a cat, I'm sorry, like a mouse to not get caught? Like if you think about yourself as like the mouse. Oh wait, let me actually reverse this. I'm trying to do it from your perspective instead of from theirs. So the way that it works is this: is you don't want anyone to ever see. You don't want them. Okay, how do I explain this exactly? Actually, so I'm trying to think about it because when they explain it from a different perspective, and it's so perfect for chiropractic. So the way that you catch a mouse, that's how it works. So the way that a cat would. It's not a cat though. So how do I explain this? Have you ever heard this concept? Because it's really an interesting concept. It's just I can't figure out how to exactly explain it. So here's the deal. You want to make sure that your prospect is not seeing the whiskers, because if they're seeing the whiskers, they're going to know that there's a mouse or a rat. So how do you bait your prospect? You bait them with cheese, and you want to put that cheese out in advance. And the cheese is the education and relationship-based marketing. So what often happens in chiropractic, as an example, and I see this a lot on different chiropractic websites, where they're trying to like put these whiskers out there, which are very salesy, which states like new patient evaluation for free or for $17, and it's very salesy. And from the perspective of a layperson, it's kind of a turnoff. Whereas the cheese is what can really bait them in. And the cheese represents the education and the relationship-based marketing, which is what we're employing. So the whole concept here, and the reason I was having trouble communicating this is because they share it from a different vantage point, and I'm trying to like reverse what they said so it makes sense for you.
He's doing it from a real estate perspective, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, and but I want to play this into chiropractic, and I'll flush this out in a further session, and then we'll be able to really do this at some point. But it's a really interesting perspective. So what you want to always focus on, and during the holiday time especially, people are really stressed. There's a lot on their mind. They're dealing with their in-laws. They're dealing with their own health. They're dealing with a lack of finances because they spent all their money. They're dealing with pressure associated with planning. And where you want to come from is not letting them like see the whiskers, like, hey, because you're so stressed, I'm going to sell you chiropractic care. But instead, give them some cheese. And this will be from grass-fed cows and stuff, so it's healthy cheese. But give them some cheese, which is the value, which is the education and the relationship-based marketing. It's maybe taking one of the special reports that's already inside your library and printing it out and actually giving it to them and saying, hey, I thought about you. I know that you always talk about suffering from headaches, and I wanted to give you this report just in anticipation of this holiday time because I'm sure you're going to be stressed and you might experience a headache. Just read the report. We're going to do a program on this in the future, but I know that I was just thinking about you. And if you could start thinking about some key people in your practice that's maybe they suffer during this time of the year, maybe they're an influencer even, and building a stronger rapport with them will just take this just miles ahead. Think about who they are and then give them some cheese. Give them a little taste of what it's really about to be part of your clinic and to benefit from that education and relationship-based marketing. And when you can do this on a consistent basis, this is what it means to think like a marketer. So Joe Polish was talking on this podcast actually about ways that he does this, and he does crazy things, but he sends things in the mail that are like these really quirky, gimmicky type of items, and it's often they're really inappropriate. But what it does is it makes people laugh and smile, and it makes people feel like they're thinking and caring about them. And he gave this one example of this guy, Joe Sugarman, that actually sent him something in the mail, which was this hamburger that was just wrapped up, and it was all moldy and gross. And he just sent it as a total pattern interrupt. And he sent it to him because Joe, at the time, this was years ago, Joe was kind of in this negative space, and he got this hamburger in the mail and was like, whoa, like, and just started laughing, and it completely took him out of that place of like frustration, and that's really what I want to encourage you guys to think about. It doesn't mean that you need to necessarily do something that extreme, but like think about where your practice members are, and there's a chance at this time of the year might be really upsetting for them, and what can you do to make them laugh? What could be some cheese that you can give them just to kind of bait them in and to let them feel good about themselves and to educate themselves, as opposed to coming from the place with like the whiskers where it's like obvious, like you're you're trying to serve yourself. Like really just give them something of value that will just propel them forward. And I'll kind of continue to flush this out. I just heard it again this morning. I was trying to take it from the perspective of what they shared and bring it to you. It's a little bit choppy, but it really is a brilliant marketing concept. And these are the kind of things that we'll discuss in greater detail as we dive into next year.
One cool, one also thing to think about with regards to this is the ability to basically discern the whiskers from the cheese. And if you're trying to sell your services while also providing value, then you need to realize that that's cheese. That's education relationship based marketing. When you're having a conversation with somebody and you are very acutely aware of what their challenges are, what they're looking to achieve in terms of their health, and then you invite them in for a consultation, that's all value for them. And I think a lot of people get tripped up and when they start going in for the close, as you know is said, in that that's where the whiskers, that's where people think that you're turning into a salesman when before you were Santa, and I think that when you are able to see those as one and the same, in that you're still delivering value through your services, but the way that you invite people into that conversation determines whether or not you are being the whiskers or being the cheese, and you're delivering value. So as long as you frame it in terms of contributing to their life and benefiting them in some way, then that's really what you want to go for in terms of giving them what the proverbial cheese, instead of being the sales guy, the offhand comments and slick tongue and all those kinds of things that you think about when the whiskers or the salesperson comes to mind. You avoid that by simply contributing value and then inviting them in to actually for you to deliver on that value. So I think that's an important distinction to make between those two concepts.
Yeah, actually, you just did a much better job than me. I think I pulled that out of you, actually. No, I'm just kidding. That was really very well done. No, but that's actually more what I was talking about. So it's interesting. Now you got me thinking. So this weekend I got interviewed, I didn't even tell you this, Dan, by Jay Abraham. And Jay Abraham is like the ultimate marketer. I mean, I think he's known as like the $10 billion man or something like that, because he has sold so many products for customers of his, and I think he made actually FedEx $1 billion from one recommendation to the CEO. So he's like the ultimate marketer, and he was interviewing people that are part of this mastermind group that I'm part of about our business, but also about our experience being in the group and like who the group is for and who the group's not for. And this is what we were talking about, is this exact concept of the whiskers and the cheese, because, and this ties into external marketing perfectly. So this was intentional for us to get here. This wasn't just a perfect coincidence. But what we talked about is like, who is this mastermind group for? And this is the case for Sympractic as well. Like, who's perfect for Sympractic? Well, the perfect chiropractor for Sympractic is someone that wants to give as much as they want to take. They want to come into this tribe and they want to contribute. They want to give their cheese. Now, ultimately, all of you also want to take. Like, obviously, like this is just as much about you growing as it is about helping others grow, and that's important. That's the whisker piece. But when you lead with the cheese and you lead with how can I support you, how can I serve you, what you'll find is that it comes full circle, and people really want to go out of their way to help you. And when it comes to external marketing, we really focus on building relationships with businesses outside of your community, outside of your clinic, like businesses that are like-minded and congruent. They're philosophically aligned. Maybe they're health and wellness companies. Maybe they're just led by someone who's passionate about health and wellness. Maybe it's a superintendent or the coach of the sporting team or the fire department or the police department. Like, they're influencers. And when you can lead with cheese and you can lead with how can we support you, how can we serve you, here's educational resources. We want to help take your business, your people, the people you care about to the next level. What you're going to find is that they're significantly more inclined to support you. So when Jay Abraham was asking me about who should join the Genius Network Mastermind, my response, like immediately without even thinking, is someone that wants to serve more than they want to be served. Like someone that wants to come and say, hey, I'm an expert in this. and I want to help everyone else benefit from my expertise, and I know that it's going to come full circle. And that's what I want you guys to really think about with external marketing, because this is an ongoing discussion all the time. We have people posting in the Facebook group and reaching out to their marketing coordinators saying, how do I get more people from outside my patient base to come to my events or to engage? And the way that you do this is by forming really strong relationships with other businesses. And think about how much you're serving them. You're bringing them a marketing concept that they didn't think of on their own. You're bringing them marketing resources that they can't create on their own. And you're bringing them a tribe of people who believe in what that you believe, because they're part of your tribe, that are now going to be exposed to their business. Like, that is serving. That's leading with cheese. Now, how are you being served? Well, you're being served because now this other business is an expert in something, and they're going to partner with you. This other business is going to use the marketing resources that you've given them. This other business is going to expose them to their tribe, and then obviously you're getting more people to your campaigns, and they're engaging, and they're going to become part of your clinic. So really think about that. There should be no excuse here when it comes to getting people outside of your audience to come to your events. Because if I was in practice, I'd be doing this. I'd be at least once a quarter, maybe even once a month. I would find a way to partner with some business. You're going to see me talk about that a lot today when it comes to external marketing, in order to move the ball downfield, because we know this to be true. 1 + 1 = 3 when you form a real synergistic relationship. And that's what I responded with Jay Abraham. And he's like, well, that's great, because that's the concept of a mastermind session, is to really have people come together and to give even more than they receive, and then they end up receiving even more than they give because they're leading with the giving. And that's really where I want you guys to think through when it comes to this external marketing. Try to go and serve the businesses. That's like giving them the cheese, so that they are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to refer everybody I know to Dr. Marco. Like, I'm driven to do this. This just happened to us, actually. We had one of this coaching groups in chiropractic. There was this one gentleman that joined Simpractic, and he posted in this coaching group's private Facebook page, and like dozens of them have joined. And like, I'm like at a place now where I'm like trying to think of how can I add value to this group, because oh my gosh, they've given me so much cheese. Like, I want to help this group grow. This is fantastic. Like, these are such great doctors. And like, that's what happens when you serve first. People want to help you, and if they don't, forget about it. Don't feel burned. Like, just move on to somebody else, because they're gonna want to serve. There's almost this feeling, and then they use this example on the podcast today of whenever like a Costco or a BJ's or any of those large wholesale companies, whenever they have a taste test, the reason that they're doing that is because of like the reciprocity concept, where like they're giving you food and taste tests, and people are like, oh my god, I feel like I have to reciprocate by buying 47 boxes of egg rolls, like, because like that's just how I feel like I have to give back. There's huge value in reciprocity. So really think about that when it comes to external marketing. What businesses in your community can you somehow support? Because when you support them and they're like-minded, they're going to really support you, and you're going to benefit immensely from that. So Dan, thank you for pulling out my jibber-jabber before to turn into something of value.
Not a problem.
So that was intentional. I wanted to give Dan a chance to shine during this. Dan's actually in Chicago today. We're not physically together today. He's with his family for the holidays. So he's in the Midwest, and that's what's cool about the Google Hangouts. Yeah, very cool. So, all right, let's keep going now that I finally pulled that out. It took me a little while to get there, but all right. Recap from last call. So, Dan, why don't you run with this? So, last week was the little things that make a world of difference, and we harped on the second most powerful question. So, why don't you share what that was, and like how a chiropractor that's part of the tribe can benefit from that?
Okay, so some of you may have gotten the email that was sent out with part 2 of the most powerful question, and the second part, the first part was if we are speaking 3 years from now. Jared, what you know the perfect phrasing. What was
awesome. I'll say that. The first question is this: let's pretend that we were having this discussion 3 years from now, and we were looking back over the past 3 years. What would have to happen for you, both personally and professionally, for you to feel happy with your progress? And then you let them respond, and the key is silence. Like, let them think. That's a big question right there. That's a mouthful. That's like, whoa. Let them share insight, and then the second question will be what Dan shares with you now.
So the second question is a follow-up to that first one, which is what dangers do you have now that need to be eliminated, what opportunities need to be captured, and what strengths need to be maximized in order for you to get to that point. So that's a three-pronged question, and in the last call, we really dive into it in terms of those three categories. So what dangers need to be eliminated, what opportunities need to be captured, what strengths need to be maximized. And when you incorporate this into some of the other conversational strategies that we talk about, like intellectual connections, then you have a really powerful way of communicating with people. So I highly recommend that you guys go back and watch that replay if you haven't seen it, if you didn't watch live last week. It's very, very valuable. We also go into some of the universal strategies for little things that make a world of difference, which are reaching out a day or two beforehand, before whatever event you're holding, whether it be a workshop or a teleseminar or referral campaign, and let the people know that you're looking forward to seeing them, and then giving them permission to invite their friends. We also talk about having surprise giveaways at the end of events. Doesn't matter what kind of event it is, there are always ways to have a form of a giveaway. We also talk about the targeting strategy, so figuring out what event is best for which people in your office. You have the best knowledge of what they're going through, so you have the best ability to make an educated, tailored recommendation to them based on what events and initiatives you have coming up. We also talk about making sure that you remember to close. And you don't have to close at the end. You can close from the beginning and throughout the presentation. And there are very comfortable ways to do that. And that's what we really talk about last week. And the final thing that we always talk about is do what other people don't think to do. Make sure that you're thinking outside the box, you're being fearless, and a lot of that has to do with being passionate about the initiative that you're running. So it doesn't have to be, it could be a workshop on ear infections, or it could be a teleseminar on kids' health, or whatever that initiative is. Make sure that you're passionate about it, because once you're really invested in it emotionally, that's where the creative ideas come from. So we go into all the individual campaigns last week, Think Well, Eat Well, Move Well, Trilogy, a couple of other campaigns, and we give individual recommendations as to fearless ideas, the little things, the chocolates on the pillow, and sales techniques. So if you guys didn't see it, once again, definitely go back and watch the replay for that.
Yeah, awesome.
So now we got a couple of reminders, right, Jared?
Yeah, so this week, since Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the office is closed. We are going to be doing the business pros and the timeouts tomorrow on Tuesday. So a day early. We didn't want to take a week off. This information is just too valuable to pass up. So tomorrow at noon, Dan is going to be hosting the Business Pros webinar. It's Small Business Finance 301. How to value your business. So there's been amazing feedback on the small business finance section. I was really curious to see what you guys were going to think about it, and so far it's been overwhelming. So Dan's doing a 301 version of that, so that's fantastic. And then the timeout session is going to be at 2 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow. For the staff, this is a conference call, and it's setting New Year's resolutions and taking steps to keep them. So this is really important, because if your staff is really following through on the goals that they're setting in their personal and professional life, it will move your business forward in a big way. So make sure everybody shows up for those, or at least they participate in the replays. Also, send emails to support@simpractic.com. Those are any questions you have. Just reach out to support@simpractic.com. We are closed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, so just please reach out through that mechanism, and keep using Facebook. You guys are rocking it. So all right, we have 4 fearless campaigns. You guys probably haven't even seen these campaigns yet, because we just started loading them in. So I'm going to give you a little bit of overview of what they are, and then we're going to talk about some universal marketing strategies, and then we're going to dive into the specific fearless strategies for each campaign. So the first campaign is the Holistic Happy Hour, and I think this might be one of the best campaigns ever. I think it's awesome, and the reason for that is it's really going to help you build rapport with some of those like-minded businesses in your community, where you can actually form like a networking group of like-minded holistic businesses, health food stores, yoga studios, karate studios, naturopaths, people that are involved with network marketing, medical doctors that believe in more of a homeopathic approach, really forming this networking group, and then hosting a holistic happy hour, which is just like crazy. People are doing wheatgrass shots, and they're playing like beer pong with green smoothies, like just like crazy fun stuff, social stuff, and then you invite your practice members so they're exposed to all these businesses. Everyone's promoting this. This is the chance to be a huge campaign for you. Journey is a natural parenting workshop, webinar, or teleseminar. This was backed by major popular demand. We did Delivered, which is a campaign on all-natural birth, and then many chiropractors said, okay, once the baby comes out, parents don't know what to do. And this is kind of the next version of that. Bliss, a headache seminar. This could be a webinar, a teleseminar, or a workshop. Also fantastic. This is a condition that people don't realize that you can support. I'll give you a really perfect example, and it blows my mind to think that somehow this fell through the cracks, but I have a stepbrother, and or half-brother, I don't know what he would be, but he is 14 years old, and he got hit in a basketball game, and he banged his head, and he didn't have a concussion, but he started to get headaches, and my father, he's open to chiropractic, but for some reason just wasn't doing that, and I approached him a few weeks ago, and I'm like, is his head still bothering him? He said, yes. I'm like, get him to a chiropractor, and one adjustment, I mean, everything about his being changed. Like, his energy is through the roof, he's feeling fantastic. It's just not known by the public to the degree that it needs to be, that you really help people with headaches. So this is a great campaign for you to educate your community. And then Macho Man is a men's health workshop, webinar, or teleseminar. Killer campaign. So Dan, why don't you share some universal marketing strategies for external marketing, and then we'll dig into the fearless strategies.
Awesome. So the first universal strategy that we usually talk about is it has to do with the print materials and all the resources, like that big bulk download that you get with every campaign. And the best thing that you can do with that is use them and use every single one of them in the way that they're designed to be used. So hang up all the posters in not only your own business but also local businesses as well. You can use the envelope technique in order to do that. The envelope technique is basically, we should have probably a dedicated training on this in the academy. I'll put one together.
Yeah, it's good.
And so the envelope technique, for those of you who don't know, is we include a letter that you can use with every campaign that you put into an 8.5 by 11 envelope with a bunch of your flyers, and you include a pre-posted paid envelope back to your office. And that letter that you include is supposed to be sent to a local business of your choice, and it says something along the lines of, "Hello, my name is XYZ, John Smith. I work at XYZ Chiropractic, and we have an upcoming campaign that I would love for you to get involved with or support in any way you can. I've included a couple of posters. I would love for you to put them up in your office, and please use the enclosed envelope to send some of your own posters back, and we'll put it up in our office." So it engages that spirit of reciprocity that Jared was talking about earlier, but it also opens the door for a really strong relationship. And you can do this in mass. You can send out as many of these envelopes as you want, and when you start getting those posters back, you know that business owner's interested, you can reach out to them and have a further conversation, meet up over coffee, and talk about how they can get more involved. So that's the envelope technique in a nutshell. So use those posters that you have for each campaign and plaster them all over the community as much as you can. Make sure that you use the save the date cards. Send those out as much as you can as well. Put them in high traffic areas and places where people are even spending a couple of moments. So at the front desk or in the bathroom, if they're sitting down in the waiting room, put it on the end table. Those are places where people pick it up and take it with them. So that's how you can kind of blitz your community with the print materials and all those resources that we provide. So you send out all those letters as well. So to the local church, to the Chamber of Commerce, to other local businesses as well. Make sure that you are thinking number one in terms of partnerships. That's really the first thing that should come to mind, especially since we're talking about external marketing today, especially in the early stages of planning. So if you guys are just getting started with a campaign, the first thing that you should be thinking about is who in my community would align best with this initiative, and how can I reach out to them? What would they react to? What kind of partnership would they be interested in? And the only way that you can really figure that out is by talking to them. So, meet up with them, schedule a lunch or coffee or tea, whatever floats your boat, and just figure out how you guys can work together, because that's the first step in creating a really successful event. The next thing you can do is set up your Facebook cover photo that's included with each campaign. So make sure that you use that and get that download, put it up on your Facebook page, because that's how people can see that you're doing new things all the time, as long as you're updating that Facebook cover photo regularly. And finally, make sure that you just think outside the box. Like I was talking about earlier, there are ways to think outside the box in terms of the little things that make a world of difference. There are also ways of being fearless and thinking outside the box from an external marketing perspective. So think about what other businesses can do to get involved. Think about creative ways that they can contribute to your event, whether they're a sponsor for the event itself or whether they're providing a venue or catering, whatever that is. Think about creative ways that they can contribute and creative ways that you can contribute to their business, because there's always a give and take there. Think about what relationship capital you already have. So if you know the owner of the local yoga studio or the local doula, and that would be a great way to start off this, kick off this campaign, then you should reach out to them first and foremost, and then start, expanding and entering new circles. And then think about, just on a general note, how you can start turning this month and the ensuing months into almost like a game to get your most successful month ever. That comes down to incentives with your staff. That comes down to internal challenges and getting everybody aligned with the goals and communicating those goals regularly, being transparent about those goals, saying this is where we're at any given point. And that's how you start getting some momentum internally, so that you can then say, hey, this is our biggest month ever, and we want you to get involved if you're talking to local business. So those are some universal marketing strategies for an external focus. They can be applied to any of the campaigns we're about to talk about as we go into Holistic Happy Hour and the rest of them. Just think about how what I was just talking about can be applied to either these 4 campaigns or the ones that you have upcoming. So the first one that we've got that we can dive into is Holistic Happy Hour. Jared, do you want to dive into that one?
Sure. And great overview there. So with these campaigns, whenever we do this, we're going to share an immediate action that everyone should do. This is if you're doing the campaign, you have to do this action. Then there's going to be a fearless strategy, which will probably take you a little bit outside your comfort zone, but that's where all growth occurs. And then we're going to recommend some resources. And with these campaigns, the recommended resources are pretty consistent with regards to what's best based on what's in the zip file with each campaign. But just keep in mind, we don't just create resources to create resources. Really, everything should be used if you're doing the actual campaign. So the immediate action for the Holistic Happy Hour is to sit down and make a list, and maybe it means taking a drive with your team one day on lunch. It'll be fun. But make a list of every holistic-oriented business in your community. Some examples are health food stores, naturopaths, yoga studios, smoothie shops, karate dojos, salons, meditation centers, healthy restaurants, juice shops, personal trainers and gyms. If you know that there are people that are involved with some network marketing model, and just make the list and then categorize this list based on hot relationships. So businesses that you know each other, and if you were to call them tomorrow, they would say, yeah, let's go at this, let's rock this event, and you know they're going to follow through. Then there's warm relationships where you know of each other, but maybe you really haven't done anything in the past or really had any deep discussion. And then cold relationships, which are ones that you don't even know that each other exist, and the only reason why you even know that they exist is because you just drove around and you saw their business. And then just begin to target the hot relationships and see where that takes you, and maybe go into the warm relationships, and the cold ones you'd want to probably start working those a little bit before you dig into anything for a campaign. But really leverage the hot and warm relationships, because there is so much that you can do here, and this campaign is very straightforward. It's a party at your office where like-minded businesses can come to network with one another and to bring their goods and their services so that other people and businesses can be exposed to them, and then everyone benefits as a result. The fearless strategy is, I really believe this campaign is press-worthy. I think you can get on the news for this. It's probably never been done in your community before, and if you reach out to the local news station, there's a very good chance they're going to capture this, because they always want to find some of the cool, hot things that are going on locally. and at least use the press release and send that to the local paper, because they will at least publish that. This is that type of campaign. This is a very unique, outside-the-box type of thinking campaign, and regardless of when you do this, it's a fun event, and people are going to want to highlight this, especially the media, so make sure that you use that strategy as a fearless strategy. And then recommended resources is all of the letters. So there's a ton of materials with this campaign, letters to other businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, schools, the media. Use all of the letters and just send them to the appropriate party. All that you need to do is just literally send the letter, and then you'll begin to see that some of those letters stick and they form relationships for you. So Dan, why don't you talk now about Journey, which is a natural parenting workshop, webinar, or teleseminar.
Cool. So like Jared mentioned, this can be used in multiple ways. This is a natural parenting workshop. So like he was mentioning earlier, we had the natural pregnancy delivered. That's a campaign that was incredibly successful for several tribe members. So we're taking that to the next step with Journey, which is all about natural parenting, how to raise kids healthfully. Now the immediate action for this particular campaign is to reach out to the schools and preschools in your community for a joint marketing opportunity, so that they can actually take what you are doing and put it in front of the right people. So you have an internal community as well, and we'll talk about that next week. But from an external standpoint, from an external marketing standpoint, your biggest potential audience are going to be parents of young children. So the schools and the preschools are going to be the best place to do that. So that's your immediate action, is to reach out to them. The fearless strategy is to actually become certified to present to the preschool teachers and set up a time to actually meet with the superintendent. So if you are able to put yourself in a position or schedule time to actually present to these teachers and share that information with them and educate them, once again, giving them that cheese, then they're going to be in a greater position and more motivated to take what you are teaching and understand what you're working on and trying to achieve in the community, and share it with the people that they know, which are parents. So if you're able to get in front of them and even for just like a quick lunch and learn, just explain your philosophy and what they can be doing with the kids in school to improve their health and well-being, that's an incredible value add for schools themselves. But it's also incredible value add for the parents who are going to see that where the information is actually coming from. So that would be the fearless strategy. Reach out and get in front of those teachers and sit down with the superintendent to really hash out a joint marketing opportunity. Now the recommended resource for this one is going to be the letters to the schools. That's going to be, bar none, the most powerful thing that you can do, especially since the immediate action is to reach out to them. If you're doing this campaign, as soon as you sign up for it, get the download, take that letter, customize it as to whatever extent you like, or don't customize it and use it as is. It's been perfectly written, and we've looked at it and made sure that it looks great and works, and send it out. Figure out what the schools in your community are, where you want to send them to, who you want to send them to, and just get those letters out so you can start that conversation. So that's the recommended resource for Journey. Next up is Bliss. We've got the headaches workshop. Jared, do you want to take that one?
Sorry, I put my thing on mute. So for this one too, I think of another great strategy. This is like an ongoing type of experience, and I think we'll probably do a whole training on this alone, like when it comes to effective networking techniques. But create a list of service providers in your community that might help with headaches. This could be yoga, massage, meditation, so any type of stress relief activity. Maybe there's even health food stores, maybe naturopaths. Like, think of what type of service providers, obviously you being one of them, adds value when it comes to someone that has a headache, and then arrange a meeting for them. Actually set up like an expert panel for people that are suffering from headaches in your community, and get the experts together and then discuss ways to bring awareness around an all-natural approach to headaches. You'll find that when you spearhead that, you benefit the most, because remember, this is like the cheese. You're creating this consortium, and then it's going to come back to you. It always does. So just create this consortium. Then the fearless strategy for this And by the way, when you create that group, what will happen is there's joint marketing initiatives. You can do the campaign together, so it's not even just you anymore that's educating. There's a few people that are educating, so it really is a fantastic model for that. But the fearless strategy for this is definitely press-worthy. I mean, when you have an all-natural solution for a condition that plagues as many people as headaches does, and I didn't realize it until I read the special report, the number of people that suffer from headaches, you should be on your local news as the local expert. Your press release should be in the paper. I mean, this is the epitome of what you need to be doing. And then when it comes to recommended resources, use the letter to the media, use the press release, and then get this out to the Chamber of Commerce or anywhere where there's a large group of businesses. Because the people that are working in business, they have stress, which means they also have migraines and headaches, and they need your service in order to alleviate that pain from their lives. So Dan, I'm going to turn it over to you for Macho Man, which will be the 4th campaign in this training.
Awesome. So this is a really cool one as well. Definitely male-focused. Macho Man is a basically holistic health and wellness workshop for men, and it's specifically designed to get guys into your office. And very much along the same lines of Man Up, the other campaign that we've built. It appeals to the sense of manliness and being macho. But this one is really focused on all levels of health and wellness. So from your immune system to nutrition to physical fitness, mental health, all that kind of stuff is covered in this workshop. And for this particular one, the immediate action is to reach out to male-focused establishments in your community. So 2 big ones are going to be hardware stores, fitness centers. You could also, think about, what would be unique about your community where the guys always come to. So it could be like even think of a car club or search for any meetups that are focused on staying fit and active, or hiking clubs or whatever that have a strong male attendance. And that would be the perfect place for you to approach and say, this is what I'm doing, would love for you to get involved, let's talk about how we can both benefit from working together. So that would be the immediate action for Macho Man. The fearless strategy is to actually approach the municipalities in your community and speak with whoever's in charge about any kind of way that they can promote this event as well. So this comes down to just from a framing standpoint. You can say that the most productive and the most upstanding citizens are the ones who take care of themselves, who contribute to the community, who are energetic and productive, and they have families. And the way that you can find those in terms of men are by just reaching out to them and getting the word out about this event. So talk to those leaders at your local municipality and find out what kinds of channels of communication they use to reach these kinds of people and to get people involved. And that could be you could start with the Chamber of Commerce and work your way outwards from there. Now, the recommended resource for this would be the letters to the local business, where you could use for the immediate action of reaching out to those fitness centers, the hardware stores, any of the meetup groups, and the letter to the Chamber of Commerce, because that will be your foothold in getting your name in at the municipalities and getting in front of people who have some real power in the community to get your message out there. So that's that's the recommended resource. Those are the recommended resources for Macho Man. So I think we'll open it up for questions now, right, Jared? I think you're muted. You're muted. There you go.
I didn't want it to echo when you were talking, that's why. Sorry. Yeah. So there was 4 questions that were sent over my way. So we can go through some of these if we have time. And then I know, Shawna, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. But one of them is, how do I get men to show up for Macho Man? And that's a really good question. I know that's always an area where many chiropractors, they're a little bit hesitant to do any campaign that focuses on men. But when we did the paleo barbecue, which was like the the men's day or night out. I mean, that was super successful. And why was it successful? And it's because of the languaging around it and addressing people's manhood. And that's something that's a challenge. So, but one way to get men to show up for this is to really think about the women in your clinic that have a significant other that's a man, and they're either currently engaged or they're not engaged, but getting them to recognize the importance of having their male counterpart live out these habits. And if they go home and they put some pressure on that male to go to this event, there's a far greater likelihood they're going to show up because they want to obviously make their significant other happy. In addition to that, make sure that if you're doing this campaign, call the men out. Like, really think about that. Call them out. Like, who right now is in your clinic that's a male that is under care, and then sit down with them when they're in your clinic and say, okay, you need to come to this because it's going to take your life to the next level. And who's one dude that you know that could also benefit as well? And really call them out and challenge them to create this brotherhood with like-minded and healthy people. Maybe they're on a sports team and they play softball or basketball or soccer, and they're going to want to win the championship for their local league, and just explain how if everyone on the team understands what you're going to teach, it's going to benefit the whole team. And when you speak on their level and you recognize what's important to them, you're going to notice that they're far more inclined to actually show up. Dan, do you have any other ideas?
Yeah, you could. One thing that worked really well with the Paleo barbecue, now that you bring that up, is food. I mean, when you have food or drinks available for people to enjoy and be comfortable, then they are going to be more interested in coming and inviting other people. So at the Paleo barbecue, we said, have gluten-free beer available, healthy snacks, and even barbecue, which was the point of the Paleo barbecue. But make it your own and make it an inviting environment, so that they will feel welcome, and it'll be kind of like a man cave environment that you create. You could think outside the box as well, and say we'll have the workshop and then we'll watch the game or something like that. So there are multiple ways that you can get the attention of guys in your community by just hooking into what they're already interested in and what they would do in their free time anyway. And just kind of add on to that and say, we're going to be providing that and then some. So you can walk away with some knowledge and actionable insight.
That's a really good idea. Another question is, what businesses should I target for the Holistic Happy Hour? So we mentioned this before, but I would say, and Dan, feel free to chime in, I would say health food stores, anyone involved with network marketing.
Juice bars.
What'd you say?
Juice bars.
Yeah, juice bars are great. Vegan restaurants. You might want to target personal trainers or fitness centers, naturopaths, karate dojos, yoga studios. So those would be examples of some of the businesses to target. And also, think about this. If the superintendent happens to be extremely passionate about transcendental meditation, then approach him, because he's a conduit of opportunity, and he would want to show up and then bring all of his friends to come as well. So it's not even just who the businesses are, it's also who the people are in your community that might be really passionate about this subject, and they have influence over other people as well. Dan, anything else from your end?
I think that's good. Yeah, I mean, you covered all the main ones.
Cool. And then another question was, let me see here. Do my patients also come to the Holistic Happy Hour? Yeah, go for it. The more the merrier. I mean, the businesses will be excited to see possible prospects show up that they can share their products and services with. So yeah, go big with this. So you'll mention in the training video when Dan and I went through that, we said there's a very good chance you're not going to be able to do this at your clinic. Very good chance. This might have to happen at the church or the community center or somewhere else. So even consider forming a relationship with a facility so it doesn't cost you any money to host this event, because the odds are this has the potential to get really big. And then also by partnering with these other businesses, like a health food store as an example, or a juice shop, they're going to bring their Vitamix or their juicer and some ingredients, and now all of a sudden there is no cost to host this because they want to bring these goods so that people in the community can be exposed to them. So definitely get your patients to come. It's going to be a far larger value proposition for any of the businesses if they know that there are prospective candidates that will be coming. And the final question, this is a really good question. How do we recommend getting nursery schools involved? So, man, Dan, remember when the office from Nevada they did delivered, and they reached out to the nursery schools, and the nursery schools actually came back and said, these are preschools, do you offer CE credits? Because if you do, we can really promote this through our whole network
Oh
and
yeah,
get
yeah.
all of the teachers there. And the staff person was the one that used the letter just to reach out to the nursery school. And they said, well, we don't, but how would we get certified? And their response was, oh, it's really easy. It's a weekend course, and it happens to be that weekend. So they ended up getting certified. Now all of these nursery schools were promoting delivered. So I would reach out to nursery schools and with the letters that are written, and find out if they're open and willing to support this in some way, shape, or form, and then ask that question, like, is there a CE program in our state, and if so, how do I get certified? Because what that does is it opens big time doors for you with your ideal practice members.
And nobody's positioned that. Nobody is in that area at all. Nobody's got the CE credits and specifically talking about that kind of thing. So it's an incredibly niche market, and there's a demand for it.
For sure. Whew, this juice has a lot of ginger in it. Whew. That was a shocker.
That's my style. That's my recipe you're using.
Wow, this was a lot of ginger. I really didn't expect that. So awesome. Those are the questions that were sent over. So if there are other issues, reach out to your personal marketing coordinator. Next week on Monday, we're going to talk about internal marketing for these campaigns. So these are the pattern interrupts and anchors. So make sure you show up for that. Shout out to Facebook. Awesome week again. I mean, Jack Coles, who is just emerging as a leader in this group. David Turner with some great pictures. Nick Weigel with great pictures. Rich Zadowski with awesome questions. Marco C. just a very, very consistent rock star. Nicole Rothman, I mean, did you see that office decorations? That was just fantastic. And many others. I mean, everybody deserves just a major clap. You guys are rocking it. Really fantastic stuff. So you should be super proud. Make sure you send any questions to support@simpractic.com. Anything you need to just reach out to support@simpractic.com. Remember, we are closed on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. So instead of calling at those times, because the odds are there won't be anybody to answer, reach out through email. The team will be checking email, and they will, if they need to call you, they will call you to resolve something. So if you reach out and you're like, give me a call, I'm stuck, they will call you. But just do it through email. Let that be what initiates this, and also recognize that this is the chance for the team to really rejuvenate, and when they do, they come back on fire, and trust me, when our team's on fire, that benefits all of you. So just keep that in mind. Also, dive into the SYN room. Go through the workbook initially. I was told that everything will be in chronological order within the next 24 hours. It's such a big file that they're having a hard time manipulating it, the developers, but they found a way to do it. So it should be in order, but you can at least start with the workbook now. Either print out a copy for yourself or just go through it online. And it is recommended that if you want to get at least one kit, to just go and order that kit. Like we said, this money is literally going directly to dis.com. It's nothing to do with us. And they will then ship you this item. And then finally, we will send out, after this call, Dan, we might as well send out our holiday hours through email. But we're also going to send you out the email that you can use for Thanksgiving morning. It's written for you. If you want to edit it and tweak it, feel free. If you have questions on how to actually send out an email, reach out to your personal marketing coordinator either today or tomorrow. And let's just let people feel really special during this time of the year, because we know that you do, and it's really special to share that experience with others. So in closing, we always end with a quote. So I'm going to share a really cool quote with you. Give me one sec. So the quote, and you can click on me, is, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. And I thought this would be a really good quote in the theme of Thanksgiving time. So why do I share this? And I share this because people often have a hard time really expressing their authentic gratitude for someone. Like, it just makes them feel awkward. And what they'll typically say is, well, I don't want to make somebody else feel funny by telling them how special they are in my life, and I'm just going to say nothing instead. And what I encourage you to do is challenge that belief and really approach the practice members that you feel just ultimately grateful for. Those that have been with you for a long time, those who believe in what you believe, those who really get it, and just share gratitude with them. Let them know what it means that they're part of your clinic. Let them know what they've been able to do in order to transform their lives. Let them recognize how far they've come and how exciting that is for you, and really express that gratitude. Don't just wrap the present and don't give it by just thinking about gratitude. Actually put it out there and share it with others. So with that, we wish you a very, very happy Thanksgiving if you are celebrating. We are eternally grateful for you, the fact that you believe in what we believe, and the fact that we are building this tribe together and leading this movement. It's very exciting, and I have a really good feeling about 2015, where we truly bring chiropractic to the world, and we're going to share some ideas on what that actually looks like. So everybody, thank you so much for your time. Happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. If you're not celebrating, we are still grateful for you, and we will speak with you next week. Thanks so much.
See you guys.